To be trusted enough to be in the presence of Emperor Palpatine was a great privilege, or curse, depending on how you look at it, but being tasked with his protection was another ballgame entirely. Palpatine was a prime target for assassination over the galaxy. His role as a corrupt emperor put an automatic target on his back, but his lesser known role as a Sith Lord may have been an even greater threat to his rule. Because of this, Palpatine required constant protection from the most loyal and highly trained members of the Empire. These members were known as the Red Guard. The Imperial Royal Guards were the personal protectors and, if need be, assassins to Palpatine himself. Before the time of the Royal Guards and the Empire itself, the protectors of Palpatine were the Senate Commandos, who remained by his side or close unless specifically ordered not to. Over time, Palpatine would replace the blue armor of the Senate Guards with the red cloaks and began to pick and choose from the ranks of the Commandos, only opting to be accompanied by those he trusted most from their ranks. While remaining somewhat in the background at first, as the Clone Wars raged on and Palpatine became a more prominent figure in the galaxy, the Guards began making public appearances with the now Chancellor Palpatine. While in public, the Guards never uttered a word, and were beyond strict with those in the presence of the Chancellor, despite rank or acclaim. Following the rise of the Empire, Palpatine discarded the Senate Commandos entirely, instead opting to choose directly from the Stormtrooper ranks enlisted in the Imperial Army, fearful of any commando's loyalty to the Senate and the Jedi Knights. The Imperial Royal Guard only answered to one, the Emperor himself, remaining a separate entity than others involved in the Empire. The Royal Guards even refused the commands of the legendary commander and Imperial enforcer, Darth Vader, despite his imposing presence. The Imperial Royal Guard were conditioned to serve one purpose in life, to serve the Emperor, willing to kill or be killed at any moment. A Royal Guardsman never seeks special privileges, ever. His entire goal in life is to serve the Emperor and the new order he created. This is his goal in life, and his desire in death. When one was selected from the Imperial military, they would be sent to a barren planet to undergo training at the Imperial Guard Academy. On top of physical and mental refinement, the recruits were also conditioned to obey the command of their Emperor at all costs, forming an undying loyalty to only him. Over the course of the sometimes years of training, the recruits were occasionally forced to kill each other, and in extreme cases, themselves. The exact number of Imperial Guards was a complete mystery to all but the Emperor himself, with guesses ranging from tens to thousands of members. Imperial Royal Guards were stationed all over the galaxy, from various safe houses for the Emperor to the Imperial Palace itself. The Royal Guards hid several high-powered weapons beneath their large red cloaks, including heavy blaster pistols, vibroblades, and force pikes. This evidently indicates Palpatine's greatest precaution was preparing for assaults by Force users. In Legends, an even more prestigious and skilled breakoff of the Imperial Guards were the Imperial Shadow Guards, who used lightsaber pikes in battle after the Empire began mass-producing lightsabers. These Shadow Guards were often Force-sensitive, and were trained in the dark side of the Force, but not to the extent of an Inquisitor or Hand of the Emperor. In the early days of the Empire, Palpatine feared the emergence of any Force user, scared at the prospects of them becoming future Jedi or rebels to the Imperial cause. However, over time, Palpatine opted to use these Force-sensitive individuals to his advantage, training them to be used as assassins and warriors for the Empire, but never advancing their training to the point where they could be potential rivals. The most prestigious of all the Royal Guards were the Imperial Sovereign Protectors, who were personally trained by the Inquisitors themselves to be proficient in dispatching Jedi Knights. After the emergence of Luke Skywalker, Palpatine feared the total return of the Jedi Order, and thus opted to take full advantage of all Force sensitives within Imperial ranks, training them to prepare for the return of the Jedi. In space conflicts, the Imperial Guard flew specially designed TIE interceptors painted red to signify the presence of the Royal Guard and strike fear into the hearts of the enemies of the Empire. Underneath their red robes, the Guardsmen had impressive armor, forged using methods from the Mandalorian culture to ensure quality. Because of this, Guardsmen could often shrug off otherwise crippling attacks. Despite rumors on behalf of the Rebel Alliance, no clones were ever permitted within the ranks of the Royal Guard, as Palpatine wished to only incorporate those who were born naturally and trained without any prior influence. Not only were the guards versed in various martial arts styles, but also torture, as they often used their force pikes to extract information from subjects. The secrecy of the Royal Guards became so extreme that once entering the academy, the recruits would have their fingerprints removed, as the purpose of the training was to strip the recruits of everything that made them them, and replace it with undying loyalty to the Emperor. While in the academy, the recruits were forced to learn a secret language only known by other Imperial Royal Guards to ensure they could communicate and no others could interpret their comments and commands to one another. If any recruit did not meet the extensive criteria to become a Royal Guard, they were to be executed, with the Empire fearful of any of their methods leaving the academy or the Royal Guards themselves. All members of the Guard were forced to conform to certain requirements and maintain them until their service was completed with their death, as the role of an Imperial Royal Guard is a way of life, not simply a position. These requirements were that of size, strength, intelligence, speed, and above all, loyalty to their Emperor. Even after the collapse of the Empire, many Imperial Guards remained loyal to the Empire's cause, being active as far as 10 years after the Battle of Endor. So that is everything it takes, as well as the duties of being an Imperial Royal Guard. Not an easy task at all, and in many ways even more difficult than training to become a Jedi. So what do you think of the Royal Guard? And would you be willing to give it all up and serve the Emperor and be trusted with the darkest secrets of the Empire? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, maybe consider subscribing to ensure you stay up to date on everything Star Wars related. And I tried a little something different with this video, talking about something a little bit less involved with the Force. So if you liked it, go ahead and leave a thumbs up to indicate that you want more. If you have any other lore topics or questions you want answered, do not hesitate to tweet them at me at StupendousWave on Twitter, or leave a comment and I will try my best to answer or make a full video dedicated to your topic. Thanks again for watching, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.